It's a bounty hunters, no Raylos, no Ray Nobodies. You guys know the rules. No Adam Driver fans. We don't talk about things that look like God's leftovers. Anyway, wanted to talk a little bit about a lot of things. Let's see. Netflix has lost a lot of market share. Their shares are down heavy duty. I think what's really funny is I went and did a search. I can't find any stuff on Netflix being over, but or having issues, but they are. It's very strange. So anyway, I was looking at that, and then more about Disney, ScarJo. It just seems a lot of editorializing at this point. No, nothing from the official party since the first brain fart occurred. I'm not really, afternoon, Jeremy. I'm not impressed with Brian Lord. He's been in Hollywood long enough to know that. And it's going to end up being the studios are going to be back in control of what is made. But it's not going to be like creative guys like Jack Warner and, Louis B. Mayer and Irving Thalberg and, Daryl F. Zanuck. It's going to be, guys that, used to sell Coke out of a car or some shit, No idea what they're doing. So we'll see, but this is going to be quite interesting, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're already in arbitration right now. If I was a judge, I'd be like, you guys figure it out. All right, here, you give her a little money, she'll go away and she'll be happy and whatever. I'm gonna tell you guys something. This is just me making a prediction. You might want Bob Chapek to win this, okay? Because Kevin Feige is not a good person. Okay, he is not. And, no one again is asking the question, why on earth did Black Widow get released before, or why did Captain Marvel get released before Black Widow, when Black Widow was already in the can? They didn't even have to waste, think of the money they spent on Captain Marvel. All right. The problem is these guys pay themselves before they start making the movie, so there's no incentive to actually make it decent. Part of the reason why Lucasfilm sucks so bad is these contract authors like Claudia Gray and Justina Ireland get paid a lot of money up front, so they don't have to care about what they put out in a novel. Okay, this is why we get Geo the Rock, Leox Skiasi, the asexual gay guy. I can't even what. And this person who made that little thing up is trying to be a writer, a professional writer. Okay, here's Webster's dictionary. Go look up that word asexual before you start calling a fully developed human being that, unless he can asexually reproduce, which is what that word means. Okay, just telling you. Let's see what else. Pablo Hidalgo has been really kind of being snarky at the fans again. In fact, today, just yesterday, I think, maybe it was today, he decided to retweet one of the most, I'd say, egregious Twitter accounts. Oops, sorry guys. Sorry. Twitter accounts out there. Shitty Star Wars posts. Or shit Star Wars posts or Star Wars shit posting or whatever. So let's go look at it. Because these guys are just, there are two women who run it. When Ichibaka was still a member of the club and not sucking his thumb somewhere, crying about fucking Gina Carano. And it's not that I don't like Gina. It's that is not a hill you die on for this. Okay, it is not. The hill you die on is God. Okay, well that too, but the hill you die on is saving Luke Skywalker's character, and the rest of it. That's what you do. So let's see. He's back to he has his shelf indulgent thread up pinned, but 1 hour ago. Okay. So here it is. Oh, even all right. So shitty Star Wars posts attacks fans. I don't know who Jedi Knight is, but he's very excited to see Bad Batch season 2. I really gotta clean that screen. I'm sorry, guys. And then shitty Star Wars posts that, and then dipshit posts this, and then he goes down, and then he posts whatever that is. I think an organizational chart. Okay, let's go. All right. First off, there are two girls, and I used to know their names, and I can't think of them on top of my head. That run shitty Star Wars posts, and they're Raylos. Okay. The fact that Pablo follows them and doesn't follow Star Wars, Disney, or Marvel, or Lucasfilm even, says a lot. Okay, the fact he's retweeting them says a lot. He feels safe enough in public to indirectly shit on fans who are excited about something that he didn't make. And that was a direct attack on Dave Filoni, okay? I mean, we can't be excited about anything but what, the High Republic? Greetings, Lost Knowledge. So I'm looking at this going, okay, what else is going on here? Let's go further. Okay, now, how many of you guys, just say it in the chat, how many of you guys were at Star Wars Celebration? I know there was one in 2017 in Harrison Ford. That was one that Ford there's still, okay, so this guy named Scout, that was one in 2017 that Harrison showed up at. And I had a friend who was there, and he was like, when he walked out, they're all like, the crowd just went, because no one expected him to be there. And then he and George Lucas had a kind of an interview with if you go on YouTube, you'll find the interview with some douchebag millennial, just tatted up, rings in his nose, weird hair, and Ford was like, "Go away, little boy, just go away." So yeah, they're mocking this. They're totally mocking this. They're mocking Gina too. Interesting to me. But I'll show you in a minute. But, oh, yay, she's the best. So, Dingbat is giving Justina Ireland kudos for number 2 YT on the bestsellers list. New York Times bestsellers list, which isn't a bestsellers list. They call it that, but it's really an editorial list. On Amazon, it debuted at number 48. Okay. Oh yeah, we're getting there. I mean, I sent Kev Oyston the actual, and when we get out of this, I'll get into the pictures. And of course, this is more from the New York Times. So we're talking about this, about J.W. Rinsler. And there isn't anything about Well, okay. Somebody tweeted to him that and asked him if he was going to be at Star Wars Celebration. Hey, Bone, in 2022, and he said no, but you guys have a blast or something like that. And I'm like this. So I need to find out, and this is strictly for me because I'm a bitch. Was he ever, ever, ever at 2017, or was there one in 2018? Because there wasn't one in 2019. There wasn't. And there wasn't one in 20, I mean, there wasn't one in 2020, and there's one this year. So let's see, where are we? I thought I saved that. Maybe I didn't. Oh, okay, yeah, we have that one. So anyway, we gotta wait. Okay, I've got more here. I don't. Okay, iCloud's trying to upload this stuff onto my computer. So okay, here we go. Okay, we gotta go here, but no. So I don't know if he was there or not, and I'd like to know because okay, here we go. This is it. And yes, I did save it. So he's not going to be at Celebration. I am literally like, okay, fine. What does this mean? These are the things we have to ask. My philosophy throughout this whole ordeal is if Pablo leaves before October, then we'll know that she's done. And the way he's been acting, he acts like he's on the outside looking in. Now, he is obviously somewhere, not San Francisco, because his wife mentioned that. Maybe I'll go back in there and we'll look at that. And Adam Lanth Garcia, the biggest shell ever, was kind of talking to him on his private account. Eventually some of those tweets will come out because it just, you can't trust even 5 people on the internet, okay? If you've got a secure account, don't talk to anybody. I mean, don't go on Twitter. I mean, Harrison Ford isn't on Twitter. His management team is, and his PR team are, but he's not. He probably looks at it and goes, rolls his eyes and leaves. Cool people don't go on Twitter. They don't live on it. You don't see, George Lucas on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to be really cool, don't go on Twitter. Do something fantastic, like talk to people face to face. Or get a YouTube channel. We are so uncool. But anyway, so I want to know where he is because I've decided there are 4 places he could be. He could be in Southern California at the studios, or he could be on set somewhere where they're filming something, just because he does that from time to time. He could be in Canada because that's where his family is. He could be in England on the set of Indy 5, or he could be in Greece on the set of Knives Out 2. And if that's the case, why isn't he working? He's not working. He's not working on anything right now. There's nothing there right now. In fact, what's really interesting is that his wife tweeted she was working on her brother's resume. Now maybe she's was working on her brother's resume. I just find it odd that came out, a few months, like a month or so after the Gina thing happened. What I think probably happened is Disney did a search and did an investigation, realized where all the shit started. Okay, and then Pablo has a brain, and then realized, Pablo was leading the charge to get rid of her. And of course his brain fart with the Star Wars theory. And then, and Mazur has said it perfectly. It takes a sociopath to put a tweet that you deleted up as your cover on Twitter and your account is secure, but everybody can see it. That cover. It takes a pure fucking sociopath. Okay. But I was looking through things that I had been sent and stuff. And what I had seen, what I've looked at, what I've known, is just a minute. Just a minute. Kojak! Come on, leave Daddy alone. What I have seen is that a lot of this stuff, this infighting started back then. If you remember, Jon Favreau was given the green light to do Mandalorian with Dave Filoni in 2018. How long was that going to happen before then? Because that was an announcement. It doesn't mean that that wasn't already being planned on the down low. Okay, my theory is that was already happening. And the reason why is because I think Iger went, oh my God, what the fuck? And he had to start making a contingency plan. And, you know, as much as I despise Bob Iger, I think if that's what he did, he was right. It just didn't, Jon Favreau just didn't have an idea on the night before they announced Mandalorian was going to be filming. And he gets together with Dave Filoni and they walk into Iger's office and say, this is what we want to do. And he said, do it. I mean, when you're putting a deal together to do a TV series, it takes a little while to get all the moving parts. So when I'm looking at some of this stuff, and I'll put a compilation together, and maybe I'll even feature some of it on the community page. Because there was one where Kennedy, and I think it was like June, I think of 2018, where you guys remember the big fight, where she was screaming at somebody, and we all thought it was Pablo at first, and it turns out it was Dave Filoni she was screaming at. That she basically said to him, if you didn't have balls, you could do your job. But when it first came out, it was Pablo. Now maybe it still was Pablo. But the rest of that rumor was Filoni and Favreau basically threatened to walk out. And Iger was like, no, we need you. Do I believe that fight happened? Yeah. Maybe I'm getting that fight confused with another one. I don't know, but there was one where Craig from Reviews for You talked about, and it was literally word for word what Grace Randolph said happened, and it was a fight between California Lucasfilm and British Lucasfilm in London, and it was hellacious. This shit was going on for a while. So when there's too much proof now, there's too much out there now, okay, to say that there was never an argument at Lucasfilm. But we also know that Pablo is a fucking liar. It always has been. Mays brought up an example of him lying about, and I can't remember what it was, but the moment he said it, it was like, yeah, I remember that. And I remember him lying about everything. It turned out, he was just covering up. And that's what he's doing right now. These people have either been told shut your mouths, or they don't want anything that would embarrass them to come out. But we're talking about people that have treated the rest of us like shit. Okay, so the idea that they get embarrassed, like a la Chuck Wen did when he got fired in, was it 2018? Serves him right. But the fact is I do believe that he's either on his way out or is out. All right. Coach, leave Daddy alone. Come on. Where are you going?
Going to wash the Jeep.
Okay. Come here, Kojak. Come here. Come. Anyway, he's gonna go wash the Jeep, and I would have had an earlier live stream before Midnight's Edge, but because of this, should I tell you about my day before we go back into this? Wake up early. I'm sitting here drinking coffee, thinking about going to take a shower, get a phone call from my doctor. Did you make an appointment for a blood test? I go, yeah, I'm going, in about an hour and a half. I gotta take a shower and stuff, and I'm gonna go and do it. Well, no, you really don't go to that lab because they need the results right away. Go to the UPMC lab. And I'm like, but this wasn't the problem. And she should have said this. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Kev. She should have said this last week, so I wouldn't be going, So incompetence strike one. So I take a shower, get ready, I go, get up to the hospital where it's at, and the office did not, their specialists did not have the script. They did not fax the script. So I have to call them. The lady on the other end's like, okay, I'll do it right away. Hour later, and she hadn't done it. And, I'd been there for a long time already. I had been running around like a chicken with my head cut off trying to find this fucking place for a long fucking time. I was pissed. Call again. Little girl named Jen. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. 5 minutes later, they get the thing. I go in, fill out the papers I have to fill out, get the blood work done. I have a test, an MRI on Monday morning. Don't worry, it's fine. It's bullshit. But I've got a weenie tot nurse practitioner and a doctor that, can't let it go. So I was literally like, I have not been this pissed off in years. Years, okay? I don't like being given the runaround. I go for a lot of blood tests. I have ever since I've run into this imaginary problem that this doctor thinks I have. So this is the fourth time since last summer. Okay. My blood work is fantastic now, but I still need to have this done. Okay, so we'll do it. I'm just pissed. I want to get it in and get out. This is why I booked an appointment at Quest Lab, because you get in, you get out, you're done. They have good people that can do it. I have little veins. I'm a tough stick. And the people at the hospital felt bad for me. I mean, they're like, and I don't think this is the only time this idiot at that doctor's office is screwed up like this. I was pissed though. But anyway, so I missed almost the entire Midnight's Edge show today. And I was pissed. I didn't get to go live, so here I am. I wanted to get live before Doomcock tonight too. So, but anyway, yeah, I looking at what's going on. Yeah, I don't. My thing about this is how are they going to announce it? Are they even going to announce Kathy's leaving? It's going to be interesting what JPEG says at the earnings call, because Disney's got the Scarlett Johansson bitch fest coming up. I'm sorry, I don't feel sorry for her. I really don't. But I have a personal beef with her because I think she's annoying. Watching The Horse Whisperer and seeing her with her inflatable lips with that stupid look on her stupid face. It's like, get away from that animal. You have no fucking idea what you're doing. Okay, get away from him. All right, or maybe he'll stomp on you so he won't have to look at you anymore. I just don't like her. I've never liked her ever since that movie came out. That movie, was a stupid movie to begin with. It's one of those Treckley Sweet, Bridges of Madison County crap fests, which is just self-centered. There are people out there that think romance should be selfish. And the only romance that really works is unselfish romance. That's why Casablanca works. Is why Gone with the Wind works. Why a lot of them work. It's romance is selfless. And when you open up these books and you look at them or watch the stories, you see two very selfish people who are, and it's gross. It's just, well, it's not even that. It's, I don't mind artsy fartsy if there's actual real love and commitment, and there isn't. Titanic was terrible for that. Raylo is terrible for that. That's not romance. That's self-centered. I need to be satisfied before anybody else kind of shit. And that's not love. Okay, that's just not. And like when you watch, or like Waterloo Bridge, which is a great movie with Robert Taylor and Vivian Leigh. Great movie. Hanover Street. All right, great movie. I don't care what anyone says. But at the end of it, when she actually acknowledges that she still loves her husband, he's like, go back to him. He needs you. And that's what that's supposed to be about. That's the thing, is I really honestly am kind of so sick of, I said Casablanca, man. I'm so, the self-centered shit. And watching that movie, and I'm not a Robert Redford fan. The only movie he was ever in that I liked was Jeremiah Johnson. And John Milius, I think, wrote the script. I think he actually filmed it. I think he was actually the director. Maybe someone can look that up on IMDb and drop it in the chat. That was a great movie. You get a mediocre actor or a stick of wood like Robert Redford, and you put him in a movie like that's really well written and well directed. They'll surprise you. They will. And a mediocre script can make Laurence Olivier look like shit. Okay, writing is everything. As we've seen from the sequel trilogy and Solo, you gotta love what you do, because if you don't, you're not gonna do very well. Anyway, that's me being weird. But yeah, so I don't even know what my point was. Even, Star Wars, the reason why Padme and Anakin ended up badly is because Anakin's selfish. He's jealous and he's covetous of her. Okay? And you get into the OT, Han, for all intents and purposes, sacrifices himself for Leia. And she goes in and then sacrifices herself for him. That is love. That's why whatever they decided to do didn't work with those two characters. Okay? Okay, Milius did the screenplay. Thanks, Mad. That's why TFA didn't work. The whole backstory didn't work. There's no reason for it because of what happened in the original trilogy. Okay, that's what. What's really interesting is you're seeing two people who aren't Jedis do things that a Jedi, like when Han doesn't understand that Luke and Leia are brother and sister, and he says he'll leave, he'll step out of the way. That's not what a jealous, possessive, guy like from whatever would, in whatever movie, like The English Patient. Almashi didn't step aside to to for Catherine. He really didn't. He was still there. He didn't leave. He was, I mean, he was a presence. And there was a part in the movie where they're at a party and he practically rapes her. You know, that is not romance. That's sick. That's obsession. Okay. That's not romance. Now, granted, Oma, she decides to go back to go save her, and then he gets himself completely fucked up. But still, when she said she couldn't do it anymore, then he should have stepped aside. All right. But they shouldn't have started this anyway. Okay. And that was the message I got out of the story. But it's a very nihilistic, not romantic story when you know, the music's romantic and the cinematography is romantic and the lighting and all the rest of that shit. But when you look at the story, it's like, she's a hoe, and he's turning her husband into a cuckold. Well, fuck them. You know, I mean, why do I give a shit about them? Now, watching it from the perspective I had when I was going through a lot, it was after my dad died. I thought it was great. In retrospect, I think it's shit. And that attitude, it was really funny. I hadn't watched it in a while. When I moved to Washington, my friends wanted to see it, so I said, oh, I've got it. So I put it in the thing. And after about halfway through it, I kind of looked around and said, this movie really sucks. And they're all looking at me like I was nuts. I go, think about it. Think about it. And they're like, oh my God, you're right. It really did. But it was sold as a romance, and it's not. Titanic isn't a romance. I mean, basically, the guy, Jack, has to croak for her to get free, instead of her saying, I'm not marrying Callie's an asshole, and walking away from her mother. Which is what anybody who had any dignity and self-respect would have done. If you think about it, but that's the thing. And again, going back to The Horse Whisperer, watching that movie is one of the reasons why I don't like Scarlett Johansson. Watching her ride that horse before she gets hurt in the movie is why I don't like her. She don't know what the fuck she's doing. Get off of him. Get the fuck off that horse. Okay? I mean, and in my other reason why, when she's at the Women's March in 2017, demanding James Franco give her her pin back after he her. And then she gave him a pin and he never gave it back. And he went tra-la-lying after another woman. Well, guess what, bitch? You're a notch on his belt. You knew what you were doing. She had to know what she was getting into. And there we are. Okay, so my compassion for her doesn't exist. She's old enough to know better. And she was old enough then to know better. What else? But yeah, I don't, there's really nothing that's come out about Indy 5 lately. No recent pictures of Ford in London. They're down, or they were down at least, back where they'd started filming. There's a big house where they're filming now. The stuntman who actually played Ford in, Han Solo in The Force Awakens, is the guy that we saw in the video and stuff. I saved all that. I think, despite what people like Matt Kadish say, I really think it's going to be fine. And you run into people who didn't quite make it in Hollywood. And so they're bitter and they're trying to do something else. And, they say, oh, I indirectly know blah, blah, blah. Well, I indirectly know Gerard Butler. I've got a picture of me and him together. He's a jerk. I don't particularly like the guy. But, I met him. I don't know him. But there you go. I've actually stood in the same, 3 feet as Andrew Lloyd Webber. It doesn't make me know him. I actually had a conversation with Minnie Driver, who's really tall, by the way. She was fixing her lipstick, and I was doing the same thing. I looked at her and I go, "That's a beautiful dress," and she said, "Thank you." Very nice person, from what I could tell, but that was it. And I didn't. What's her face? A lot of the other people from Phantom weren't there. Like, I don't. Oh, cripes. She was there. Harrison was there. Gerard was there. God, don't get them mixed up. Andrew Lloyd Webber. Joel Schumacher was really nice. He looked right at me and said, "What'd you think of the movie?" And I said it was good. I thought it was good. You want to know what? That movie's not bad. The only weak part is, I hate to say this, is Jerry. Jerry, dude, my dog sings better than you. He never should have been the Phantom. I mean, and I tried really hard to give him kudos because I was a big fan back then, but I'm not anymore. So this is the brutal honesty. Don't quit your day job. Okay. Oh yeah, and he's also suing Millennium Studios for screwing him over with money owed $10 million from 2013, and Olympus Has Fallen. What they did was with this character is that they basically took Mitch Rapp, who was a much better character, and turned him into this person that Hollywood could actually live with. What they should have done is just done, the Vince Flynn, Mitch Rapp books and been done with it. But they didn't, if you want to read a good book, read Memorial Day by Vince Flynn. By the time it's over, you're gonna be like this. And what's really interesting is President Bush read it. The head of the CIA at the time, I can't remember his name, was like, "Where the hell is he getting all this information?" He was pissed. And President Bush, when he met him, they were in a park. They were waiting to go to something in Minneapolis because Vinny's from my area, was from my area of the country. And so President Bush sees him and says, "Why don't you get in the limo with me and Laura?" So he gets in the limo. First thing that comes out of the president's mouth is, "Where are you getting all your information?" And Laura's like, "Oh, you leave that poor guy alone." But yeah, I mean, Bill Clinton likes his books. I don't think Barack Obama's ever read them because they're too white-centric. And if you read them, you'll see black men and white women in general being respected, but it's not SJW. So people will be pissed. Okay, the SJWs will be pissed. And that book, Memorial Day, Vince was talking to a guy, a big movie producer in Hollywood, and they were talking, and the guy said, "I read it, I love it." And Vince kind of said, "Well, people telling me it would be a great movie." And the guy goes, "Yeah, it would, but I'm not going to make it." And Vince is like, "Why?" And he goes, "Because it's too George Bush." Actually, it's too Donald Trump. Because the shit that goes down is like, only a president who has no fucks to give would actually allow some of the shit that happened. And what's interesting is that the president, through most of the novel, is a moderate Democrat. And, you could act, kind of based on Wee Willie. And it's really funny, but but they don't want books like that. And back in the day, Anton Fuqua was actually scheduled to make, I think, American Assassin or Consent to Kill, or one of them. Gave up on the project, and then the company took the project, took Olympus Has Fallen, and what they did is they took the script for separation of, it wasn't separation of power. It was the first Mitch Rapp book, and the premise is the White House gets taken over by a bunch of terrorists, and they're Middle Eastern, and Mitch has to go in and basically get information out of the White House to the law enforcement to tell them what's going on in there. And while he's doing that, he saves a girl from being raped, and she ends up being his wife. But that's whatever. That's the same goddamn premise that they used for Olympus Has Fallen. So they stole Vinny's idea. They stole it. They had no problem. They made it 25% different, and then they ran with it. So this Mike Bannon, he's a poor substitute for Mitch Rapp, and it's not that good of a movie. I tried to sit through it, and I'm like, I can't do this. It's bullshit. But and that's what they're doing with Star Trek Discovery. Is in order to make it to do it the way they lawfully have to, they got to make it 25% different with He-Man, because Netflix doesn't own the rights. They have to make it 25% different. So what do they do with Tila? They turn her into Mr. Tila. Okay, so you know, it's very interesting, and then they SJW'd up. But that's what they've been doing, and it's almost as though they did the same fucking thing with Star Wars, to be honest. 25% different. Well, Luke was at least 85% different. Han was 95% different. And Leia just de-evolved back to who she was on the Death Star. That's all the difference they needed to do. It didn't resemble anything from Star Wars. They didn't. And what's really interesting is that, here's the thing. I don't think that they were using R2 and C-3PO because the word on the street is George Lucas gets 25% of the use of those characters if they're in a movie or anything. And probably the same with Harrison as Han Solo, Mark Hamill, and Carrie Fisher. So they limited Carrie, they really limited Mark, and basically said, what we'll do is we'll invest in Solo for this one, and then the next one they were going to invest in Luke, and then the next one they were supposed to invest in Leia. And that didn't work out very well, because Carrie passed away, but still, they did it because they're cheap and they don't want to spend the money, okay? Don't give Disney, don't think that Disney isn't above doing that, all right? But anyway, this is what I need somebody to do. Outright ask Pablo, are you in San Francisco now? Did I see that you were somewhere else? Or where are you right now? Just casually just ask him, and he'll probably be a jerk. I think he figured out that he got trapped into saying more than he should have. But now he's, retweeting shitty Star Wars posts. Those two girls, and the thing that one of them, the person who replied to that fan who's all excited about Bad Batch, get laid. If you've seen these girls, they're still virgins. Okay, so they've never had an orgasm that wasn't caused by an electronic boyfriend. Let's put it that way. Okay, I will say that to my dying day. But anyway, I gotta go, so I'm gonna rock. You guys be good. Have a good evening. I'll see you over Doomcock's chat later. See you around the galaxy.